Thank you everybody for watching this video. Push the like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and push that notification bell. It will help us tremendously to grow this channel. We have a bunch of stuff coming out for you, the fans, unique content, so please stay tuned. JHK here for the AllStar, and join me right now is XFC lightweight contender Jose Martinez. Jose, thank you so much for the time, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
No doubt, no doubt. I see you're at the gym. Did you just get done with training?
Yeah, I just got done with my strength and conditioning training. I'm about to head to my other gym in Edmond and do my MMA training.
I just wanted to step back, man, and talk about your career a little bit. You know, I mean, you started off in 2015 with a loss, and I feel like that says a lot about you because you came back from your debut loss. You know what I mean? A lot of guys, especially in this sport is really tough, man. Like, you don't really make too much money at the start, and it is brutal. How did you pick yourself back up and get in the win column again in your next fight?
I just stayed positive about it. I mean, I had a pretty good amateur record, so I knew I could fight. Like I knew I had the skill set to do it. It didn't go my way, so I just stayed with it. Kept training, got back to the gym, fixed my problems that I was having. I think I went on a fight win streak after that. But I was just got better at it, really.
Oh, was there anybody that was there for you more than anybody else, you know what I mean, to support you? Because, you know, you could have that drive, but then you need to have the support at the same time.
Um, at the time, I really didn't have much. I had my original coach that I started out with. His name was Josh Waffle. He's from the same small town that I am, and he just kind of kept me on track at the time. He was really the motivating part of it at that time.
2020, man, let's speed back up to 2020. 2020 was an unusual year for everybody in this sport, and for yourself, you competed once. And you know, was it a frustrating year for you just not being able to compete, you know what I mean, as often as you wanted?
It really was, because I like to stay active. I fight better when I stay active, and it was just weird. Um, I wasn't able to train as much. Everything was getting shut down. It was a little odd, but I mean, I still took a fight during COVID. It was for LFA, and it was pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, let's talk about that fight which was in January of this year when you returned. And a lot of people say when you return, you're not returning with your full, you know, like full training camp, full capabilities and all of that. What was your situation?
Um, I really like it. It wasn't the same, but it wasn't so far off that I wasn't able to perform. I thought I performed fairly well in that fight. A couple of things didn't go my way, uh, but it is what it is. And I still trained fairly well for that fight. It was Oklahoma. Oklahoma had a pretty good. Uh, the restrictions weren't as bad in Oklahoma. I was halfway through. I was able to get back in the gym and still train. A lot of train. I did lose a few training partners through that whole session deal because they didn't want to risk it. They didn't want to train at the time and all that stuff. So it was a little hit or miss, but for the most part, I got pretty good training in.
And then you returned in July and got back into the win column. How did that submission victory feel for you?
Oh, it felt great. I usually don't win by submission. It's unusual when I get a submission win, so it was pretty good. I like it. It was just fun getting back into it with the crowd. Like LFA, when I did fight, a lot of it there wasn't no crowd, and I feed off the crowd. Even if they're booing or cheering, whatever, I like to feed off the crowd. I like having a crowd there, and it was satisfying having a crowd there and being able to perform, get a quick win.
You said that you don't usually win by submission. So when you had the submission locked in, where you're like, "Oh, this guy's he's really giving me the submission. Like it's gonna I'm gonna get the tap."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I usually don't like attempt to go for submissions. I'm more of a play the position game type of person. But he's kind of snuck like he just kind of got in there. I'm like, well, there's my submission, and that's one of my favorite setups to do in jiu-jitsu class. Just a guillotine to a darce, and it was it was like muscle memory after that. Once you got in that position.
definitely. And after that fight, has training been back to normal for you? Like every day, it's like it was like 2019.
Oh yeah, training's great now. Everything's normal. Um, got a bunch of training partners. Recently had a switching coaches at my other gym, which has helped me a lot with my wrestling ground game type stuff. Um, JR and Matt Grice over at American Elite, they're doing a great job with that program. So I'm really enjoying it.
Have you done? Well, I guess you haven't done all your camp in American Elite. You have other spots. You have your own. You have your own gym.
Yes, I own my own gym in this little small town I live in Tonkawa, Oklahoma. It's usually about an hour and 18 minutes for me to get to Edmond. So, and there's really nothing else around here to train. So I started up my own gym, and it's going great here. Got a bunch of up and coming young guys, kind of following in my footsteps, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely, man. You're building a community.
Yes, yeah, and the kids program has really grown on me lately. Like, just be watching kids, coaching kids has been great.
What do you get out of that? Do you have kids yourself?
Yeah, I got my own kids. My youngest one's just turned 3, so he's fixing to get to join class next year. So that'd be fun. Yeah, the other ones are a little older. They're not too interested in jujitsu. Yeah,
Why is that? Why do you think it happens like that?
I don't know. They're just older. I think high school sports and like sports in general and school sports kind of take priority in that.
How important is it for kids? You know, you own a gym, you're a coach, you're a fighter. How important is it for kids to just have jujitsu in their life as at a young age?
I feel for some kids it's more important than others. Some kids are just trying to be athletes, but for some kids it's like it's their safe place. It's their way to get away from certain stuff might be happening at home or stuff like that. It just helps them stay positive, stay motivated, keep them in the right track. So I really enjoy that part of it.
All right, let's jump into this fight, man. Coming up, it's the main event of XFC Young Guns 4. You're taking on Kenneth Cross. What can you tell me about Kenneth Cross?
He looks like he's a strong, explosive kind of fighter. Like likes to stay on the outside, kind of stay at range, throw some fancy looking strikes, like flashy stuff. But he's durable, and I saw his contender series fight. He's got a little bit of wrestling behind him too, so it's definitely gonna be a tough fight. But I mean, I fought who's of who's around here, and just another day for me.
Yeah, your resume, I feel like it is a rougher road compared to Kenneth Cross.
Yeah, I definitely didn't shy away from fights. Some I probably shouldn't have took it sometimes. Just some I rushed a little too much, but it is what it is. You learn from them, you get better. And I've been in there with tough opponents, so it's nothing new to me. This will just be another tough guy, and I have to go in there and beat him in his hometown.
Yeah, what about that? You know, you're going into his hometown. You're going. I don't know if you're the enemy. You know, what I mean, that's kind of a weird thing to say.
I'm really expected to get booed. Like I'm expecting to get booed and all that kind of stuff. But hopefully at the end, regardless, they'll be cheering for both of us. Hopefully we put on a great performance out there. Um, but like I said, I feed off the crowd. I like the crowd. So even if they're booing, that's better than not having a crowd.
I believe he's coming off a Achilles injury, and man, from what I know, that's not like a broken finger. You know what I mean? It's like something that's really hindering to anybody that sustains that injury. What do you think of him coming back from that?
I think it shows dedication on his part because having an injury, a major injury like that, and then jumping back in, it just shows that he's dedicated to it. And that's kind of something cool about him. I like, but at the same time, he might not fight the same way he's been fighting before because he is kind of really move. He moves a lot. He like explosive. It might hinder him on that aspect of his game. But who knows? He might done the right stuff, right rehab, and he might just be the same old fighter he's always been.
So what are you expecting out of yourself in this fight? You know, it's a main event. It's against a guy that it seems like XFC wants to build. And do you feel like there could be maybe title implications with this fight?
I believe so. I know that one like they're trying to build off of Kenny. Kenny's like their guy at XFC right now. I mean, I kind of feel bad when I spoil that, but I want that. Like, I don't mind getting a title fight after I win. That'd be something for there. Or there's other doors. Being a guy like Kenny opens up all kinds of doors. He's fought for contender series. He's got a good resume. People are looking at him. So being a guy like that kind of opens up the door for me for different possibilities.
Definitely. And let's talk about the possibilities. You know, what I mean, you beat Kenny Cross, you beat a prospect, the face of the promotion. What do you expect to? Where do you expect to be in 2022?
I really would love to be at least in contender series. I know he got his shot at contender series. I want my shot at contender series. Um, I mean, if the possibility of a short notice UFC fight was to present himself, that'd be cool. But I don't expect that. But I do want to get at least in contender series, make that jump to that level. I feel like I can hang at that level. Um, I'm doing all the right stuff, so I feel confident about that.
One last question. You know, what I mean, there's open judging has been being used in a few states now, and some countries around the world have been using open judging in MMA. What is your take on that type of judging and the effects it will have on fights?
Um, I think it'll make fights a little more interesting, in my opinion. Actually, when I fought Rosales, it was uh, open scoring. Um, but I think it makes it more interesting. You know if you're behind, you know if you're ahead, which it can hinder the other way around too. Because if you know you're ahead, you might coast and get the decision. But I think for the most part, it'll help out for more exciting fights. You know when you're behind and you're gonna try to get the finish if you know you're behind.
You said you experienced it in the Rosales fight. How did it affect you?
I mean, I really couldn't tell you on that one. I got kneed illegally in the head in that fight. The ref didn't catch it, so I was a little bit out of it after the second round. But I kept going. It was fun, but I wasn't really in the mental state in that fight anymore after that knee. My head was all weird.
Did you have like long lasting effects from the knee?
No, not really. I mean, probably about a week or two, and I was fine. I was back to training. I felt good. I just took some time off, and then I was back to normal.
Well, December 10th, man, coming up real quick. XFC Young Guns 4, main event, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Jose, thank you so much for the time, man.
Thank you for having me.